Developing a final outcome. I'm going to talk you through the way to develop a final outcome. Firstly, let's talk annotation. Annotation is important in your work as it allows you to verbalise your intentions. Written annotation helps to support the visual journey and development of your work and may help you to understand the direction your work is going in more clearly if you annotate as you go. Annotation may sound like a daunting word, but when we break it down, all you need to do is write what you have done, why you have done it, and what you plan to do next. So think about what you've done, explain what you've done, what materials you've used, and what techniques or process you may have used. This only needs to be a very short paragraph. Explain why you have done it. So for example, is it in response to an artist's research? Have you experimented with a particular media to see whether it would work well? And then what will you do next? Was it successful or not? Why? How could you improve? Will you try an alternative material? Do you need to look at an alternative artist for more inspiration? Annotating your work as you go will help to make your journey clearer. So take a look back through your sketchbook. Remind yourself of what you have learnt so far. Look back at your colour theory and think about what you enjoyed. Think about what you learnt from colour and the different colour groups. And think about whether they would be something you would like to incorporate into a final outcome. For me, I loved working with tints, tones and shades with a limited palette, so I knew that was something I would like to develop further later on. Remind yourself of the processes and techniques the artists you looked at used. What did you like most about their style of work? I really like the combination of different papers that Schwitters used, and I found the Cubist techniques interesting. If you aren't feeling strongly about the artist that you have researched, there's nothing stopping you from taking a look at a few more. Remember, the purpose of artist research is to get inspiration. If you aren't inspired, keep looking. Return to your composition exemplars. Could you develop a composition paying close attention to a specific composition structure? Or perhaps you'd like to experiment with several different structures. Consider materials you have already worked with and materials you could use as well as. I experimented with abstract outcomes, cubist outcomes and figurative outcomes. Consider what style suits you best and explore that further. Make an informed decision on what materials you will use to help you to create a textural outcome. Annotate your work and pay close attention to the effect of paint over each material used to create your surface background. What worked? What didn't? What could you do better? Work out your composition. Create several composition sketches and label materials you intend to use. Consider your work up to this point. Once you have a clear idea on what you plan to do, You may wish to create some further experimental studies with materials and colours. It's important to stress that final outcome doesn't necessarily mean one piece of work. It could be a series of works or a single piece. It's also important to know that you can choose what surface you work on, whether that be paper, canvas board, canvas, or a wooden panel. It's entirely up to you. You may wish to continue working on the same scale, or you may wish to work on a larger scale. When you're happy with your plan, begin to create your final outcome. And remember to have fun.